Okay, so the level, we set up the level, and now we need to process the clicks. So we'll go to the process left click function, right? And we'll check to see if the block is playable. Some blocks will be revealed during the game and they're not playable, meaning if the user or the player clicks on it, nothing should happen. So let's check to see if the block is playable. If it is playable, we'll look to see if it has a mine. So if it has a mine, we'll reveal the block, right? And we're going to go to the idle state because there's going to be some animation here, right, eventually. But right now, well, okay, so let's do the animation. Okay, so we want to do an animation for the end game. So we go to the idle state, and then we start a coroutine, which is our end game function, right? And it's a lost situation. Okay, so we're going to start that function, and this is what's called a coroutine. A coroutine is a function that has a timer on it, right? So that means it's an animation, and that means there's a special way to start that function, right? So it's like a new thread. It's like a new thread. Okay, so this is a pretty simple situation. We'll first take all the mines, right, and we'll reveal them, right? We'll show the mines, and the game state is going to be the lost, right? And then we'll pause. So we need an animation delay. We need to pause for a fraction of a second. So let's see if we set that up, animation in the variables, right? Left offset new, looks like we haven't, so I'll do it right here. So this will be delay. Now you could play around with that, how much you want to delay. Okay, so that's the delay. Now what we'll do is we showed the mines, and now we'll show the other blocks that have no mines on them. So this was the idea that we broke this up earlier. We had the mines, we kept a list of all the mines, the blocks with the mines, and this was the reason, right? We wanted to break this up into two parts. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's just format it. So let's give it a run, right? Some of the click level 1. Well, let's try it again. Okay, so now if you click on mine, you see you're in, although these should be red, right? So the problem is that on the second click, we're getting a bunch of mines again, right? So what we need to do is we need to indicate that we already have one mine, the original one, revealed, because when we come back and it's still 0, it's going to give you another set, right? So let's see, right? Okay, and still giving me, okay, that didn't work because the first time you click, you never got into this. So later on, we're supposed to take care of all this because we're playing the game, but right now, you see, on the first click, this did not happen. So we'll fix this. So just remember, on the first click, it's not a mine, so this doesn't activate. But technically, I'm supposed to reveal something, but we weren't doing that. So anyway, I think this will avoid giving you a new set of mines now, right? Okay, so I think this is it. So this is the first time, right? And technically we will be revealing this 1 at that time, but we don't have that part of the game. But now if I click on a mine, you see it's going, and it's not making any more mines. So like I said, this is all part of not on the first click. We're not really doing anything on the first click because it's not a mine. So anyway, let's now handle, we got the end of game, right? We got the end of game, you lost. And now we want to play the other part of the game. Okay, the other part of the game is, if it's not a mine, right? So if it's not a mine, we need to go in here. So what we'll do is we'll check to see if the mine count is greater than 0, right? So this is the part we were missing earlier on, right? So we always need to do that. And then we'll just, so what we want to do, we want to make the block playable. And we'll just add one more thing, right? And we need to change it to the correct sprite, right? So so what we do, if it's greater than 0, we want to see that number, right? So to see how this works, we actually now have to hide our mines, and we have to hide our numbers. So I'm going to go to the, let's see, it's generate blocks, yeah, and generate blocks, this part, yeah, it looks like that's done, but in the generate mines, right, generate mines, init mines, we also showing the mines, so we have to remove that, all of that. So we don't want to see, right? Okay, this is the other one over here in int mine count. We're showing those numbers. So let's get rid of that. Okay, I think I got it all, right? Those were all just temporary. We wanted to see what was going on, but now we need to hide it, right? To actually play the game as is. So I'm gonna go back and play the game. So the first time we're gonna click, and as you see, there's a mine there, right? Now, if there's no mines, you see those other ones. So that's that. Now we gotta be careful, we can't run it again because we don't have the other parts of the game running. So either I'm getting lucky and getting these numbers, but anyway, you see if it's a number, looks like I'm keep on getting a number, which is kind of strange, but yeah. Well, anyway, let's go to the other part, which is that if it doesn't have any mines around it, right? So let's put that in, right? This is the process, left click. So we check to see if the mine count's greater than 0, but what if it's not? Okay, so this is the biggest part of the game, right? Is to reveal all those blocks that don't have any mines around it. So we're going to break this up into 2 functions. One is, well, I think the first is we jump into the idle state because we're going to do some animation. And then we jump into this coroutine, which is reveal the contiguous blocks, right? So this is the biggest part of. So let's get started on that function. So you'll be passing in the selected block because that's our starting point of determining all the other ones. We're going to use the stack here to start generating or to start determining which blocks do not have any mines around it, right? So we're going to use the stack, and we're going to push onto the stack the selected block. So that's our starting point, okay? and we're going to loop around until the stack is empty. So the idea is going to be that for every time, for every one of these blocks that it's on the stack, we're going to look around and add more blocks, the ones that have no mines. So we'll take, in this loop, we'll take the block on top of the stack and we'll pop it, we'll take it off, right? And we'll reveal it. Now remember, we're only going to put the blocks on the stack that have no mines, right? So this should reveal a number or a blank one, right? So of course the first one has no mine on it, right? We already checked that, right? So, and as we put more and more blocks on, they'll have no mine. There should not be a mine either. Okay, so we popped it, we showed the sprite. Now we need to make that block not playable anymore, because once you reveal a block, you don't want to be clicking on it anymore. And of course, we're going to update our num revealed, right? Because every time we reveal, we need to update that variable. Next thing is we need to put all the blocks around this one that we just popped onto the stack, but only if this block that we just popped has no mines. So we don't want, and the reason of course is that we don't want to put any mines on here, right? And we need a place to stop also. So let's get, if this block that we just popped has no mines, we are going to get all the blocks around it. And we already used this function before, right? Get all the contiguous blocks around it, right? So we're going to reuse that. I don't know where this came from. And we are now going to put all those blocks onto the stack. So we have a new function, add blocks to stack. Okay, I think this is the while loop here. Right, you have to be careful, yeah. So just watch your curly braces here. Sometimes I'm forgetting to put a closed curly brace, but the while needed a close. So here's the function, add blocks to stack, right? So all we want to do is want to add these blocks that were contiguous to the stack. So we're going to set up a loop that goes through all the contiguous blocks. We want to check if those contiguous blocks, they cannot have a mine, right? They cannot have a mine, and they also cannot be already in the stack, right? Because we'll be duplicating. So if they don't have a mine, right? We don't want to put any mines on the stack, right? I think I'm missing the last curly brace right here. Okay, and if this all checks out, we'll put it on the stacks. Okay, so this is our procedure to reveal all the contiguous blocks with no mines, right? Or no, at least it's not a mine. So let's get back to here, right? So once this is all completed, once this while loop is done, I think this is the while loop here, yeah? We need to, let's see, where am I going to pause? Yeah, we'll pause after the if. I don't need this fail-safe thing. So this is our pause, right? Every time you reveal a block, you get all the contiguous blocks, and then you pause. Now, once this loop is finished, we need to get back into the game. So once the loop is finished, we did our animation. We need to get back in the game and let the player continue to play. But during this time, he will not be able to play because we would be in the idle state. And if you remember, the idle state doesn't allow any interaction, right? So we need to get back into the player move, which gives the user or the player an ability to play and continue the game. So let's test it out, right? So the first time, I keep on hitting a mine. I think I have too many mines. Okay, so here is the part. So I hit one that had no mines on it, and as you see what it did, it revealed everything up to the number, right? So, and I guess if we play, we could, there's a mine here somewhere, right? If I hit a mine, we'll go to the end state.